Welcome to another edition of Let's Play WWE 2015. Let me just add some time because we have 4 minutes left to book for tonight's broadcast. I know I usually, put more into the show, meaning I come on camera sooner, but I just felt like not really coming on camera that early because there really wasn't any need to come on the camera early for this show. Well, for this edition of Raw. In previous editions I have, and also you can't see it, but I'm gonna pull it up. Actually you can right here. You have booked 36 segments taking up 173 minutes. 36 segments. Think about that. I booked 36 segments for this show. This is one of the biggest shows I've ever booked. Not in terms of importance or anything of that nature. More just, God, you're really gonna, it's really 37 segments? Are you kidding? And I'm gonna say this, you will see how we end, and at least some of you will love how this episode of Monday Night Raw comes to a close. Because you will thoroughly enjoy the finish, because it has to do with an internet darling. As I booked the final pre-show match of the night with Jack Swagger going up against Alex Reynolds, and Jack finally gets a victory, of course, on the pre-show because he's not good enough to get in on the regular show. And speaking of people not good enough to get in on the regular show, not good enough to get a win on the regular show, we kick off the pre-show with Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, the Motor City Machine Guns, against the resident jobber and former GM Brad Maddox, who made his return a few weeks back on Superstars, I believe, teaming up with the newly signed Alex Silva just to give to test out Alex Silva more so. And as you can tell, his gimmick was rated very, very poor, which, even in TEW, a 20 is still poor. But either way, the Guns kick off the pre-show tonight against Silva and Maddox with a victory, as does Jack Swagger in our second and final match of the pre-show. And now we move forward as we look back. The Raw kicks off this week with a glimpse back in time to a week ago when Mr. McMahon was about to walk down the aisle and say who Brock Lesnar will be challenging, will be defending the WWE World Heavyweight title against at TLC. And then the hacker returned. Well, that never happened before because now the hacker has the attention of Mr. McMahon, because the first time he appeared, he hacked SmackDown. Now he's not only hacking Raw, but he's hacking when Mr. McMahon is set to come out and speak, especially making such a big announcement as to who will be challenging the WWE World Heavyweight Champion in 2 weeks. Well, at that point it was 3 weeks, but in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from yesterday, at TLC for the WWE World Heavyweight title. Well, you'll find out maybe later tonight, as we move Brock back to the broadcast position now with Booker T JBL and Michael Cole welcoming us to Monday Night Raw. And much like the video package to kick off the show highlighted last week's events with Mr. McMahon, Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, and the Hacker, JBL, Michael Cole, and Booker T give their opinions on the events of last week and what led what we will see here tonight on Monday Night Raw. Speaking of Monday Night Raw, I said on SmackDown the returns of Rob Van Dam and Shelton Benjamin were just the beginnings, because Raw would have more returns, and John Cena is just the start. As Cena comes back, cuts a promo saying, he talks about what happened about a month ago when he was taken out by a mystery man that attacked him from behind in the ring when he was supposed to stand here, actually a little less than a month ago, because I believe it was the Go Home show to Survivor Series that it happened. But he reiterates that it happened when he was supposed to come out here and face Randy Orton to see who went to Survivor Series to face Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight title. But it never happened, because much like what happened to Randy earlier in the show, Cena ended up getting attacked as well. And Cena says he doesn't know who did it. He doesn't know why. But anybody who tries to end his career has hell to pay. And speaking of somebody who may know a thing or two about trying to end John Cena's career, here is the Viper, the returning Randy Orton. That's right. For almost a month, WWE TV was without John Cena and Randy Orton. But they're both back, and Randy Orton reiterates to what John Cena said, actually saying, John, I can't believe this, but we actually agree. We actually agree that whoever attacked us has hell to pay, because we are the leaders of this company. And without us, this company has no identity. And now we're back. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to kick someone's head in. Well, Stephanie McMahon interrupts before things get out of hand, and as a stare down happens between Cena and Randy, and Stephanie says, Gentlemen, please. The last thing we need is you two at each other's throats again. Now, you two may have went out of the picture for a while and missed your chance to challenge Brock at Survivor Series. Well, tonight, how about we have that match? How about tonight, the main event is Randy Orton versus John Cena one more time. And the winner of the match may move into closer, maybe may move a step closer to getting a title shot at Brock Lesnar. That's right, a month in the making. Now tonight, the main event will be Randy Orton versus John Cena. And maybe, just maybe in Stephanie's words, not mine, well, either way it's my words, that whoever wins the match tonight could, in fact, move a step closer to being the one who challenges Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight title next. speaking of next, our next match is a Divas match between Naomi and Rosa Mendez, and this match shows the reason why Rosa ended up becoming a manager for Adam Rose. And I think the best thing for her career is not only, managing for Adam Rose, but, for her wrestling career in terms of longevity, the best thing for her was to get pregnant and get off TV, because, her chemistry with Adam Rose was terrible, and she can't wrestle. And this match proves it. Because it ain't Naomi. I can tell you that much. And speaking of the Divas, we move backstage where Fandango is seen arguing with his manager, or so we say, Layla, saying that, and Fandango is saying that he doesn't need Layla to be at ringside tonight because he can go out there on his own and show that Fandango is just as good as he's ever been. And he doesn't need Layla's help. And speaking of somebody who says he doesn't need people's help, Seth Rollins comes out and he said, I'm not going to say what he actually says, I'm just going to say the point of this promo. And the point of this promo is basically that Seth is dropping hints and, Seth is planting the seeds for tension to form between the members of the Authority, specifically himself, Randy, and Kane, by basically saying that he is the better of the three of them. All the other two, Randy and Kane, have their primes behind them. Seth has his prime in front of him, and that's why he is the leader of the Authority and the undisputed future of the WWE. Seth's match tonight sees him go up against the Long Island Ice Z, Zack Ryder. And Seth, as you probably assume, gets the victory over Zack Ryder. Yes, this is Al Snow, one of my road agents, telling me that Zack Ryder needs to have his gimmick changed, or something needs to happen to keep people interested in Ryder, because nobody cares about Ryder anymore because he's stale. Speaking of people who are stale, stale now, Dolph Ziggler and Christian. As everyone knows who's seen a video from this series, and if you haven't, click right now to watch the last episode of Raw, when the hacker first appears on Monday nights, interrupting Mr. McMahon's announcement as to who will challenge Brock Lesnar at TLC. But if you don't know, let me incite you. Dolph Ziggler has been feuding with The Miz since Miz won the vacated Intercontinental title, because Dolph felt that he needed his rematch. Dolph got his rematch at Survivor Series, but Miz cheated to pick up the win, and Dolph has been chasing The Miz ever since. And we've seen Titus O'Neil challenge for the title and come up short, and we've seen The Miz run his mouth a lot more than usual, and even go as far to say that he is the greatest Intercontinental Champion in WWE history, which brings us to tonight's segment with Christian and Dolph Ziggler, as Christian offers his help to Dolph Ziggler and advice, saying that he's been in Miz's position, he knows what Miz is doing, and you just have to make him want to give you a title shot, or make it where he can't say no. Christian offers up the help. And now we move to the next segment which sees the tag team match that I talked about, or that came to be last Friday. They haven't moved to Thursdays yet. Last Friday on SmackDown, after AJ Lee and Nikki Bella fought to a draw due to double disqualification after interference from Alicia Fox and Tamina, the tag team match was made for tonight's episode of Raw between Foxy and Nikki teaming up against AJ and Tamina. AJ and Tamina are victorious as AJ defeats Alicia Fox in this one. Fact is, technically, AJ doesn't move a step ahead of Nikki just because she won the match. She did not pin Nikki. And believe you me, once Nikki has promo time, you'll be hearing it from Nikki Bella. Speaking of promo time, I messed up with this one. AJ should have been the one with promo time, not Nikki. But either way, Nikki has promo time, and she says that, AJ, you proved nothing winning that match because you didn't beat me, you beat Fox. That does not mean you deserve a shot at Natalya more than I do, because beside the fact that you didn't beat me, I am the total diva, and that therefore I deserve the shot more than you do, because you are not even considered a diva. That's why you were never approached to be on Total Divas. It wasn't that you just said no, because you don't fit with the real divas and the face of this division. That title will be mine. And now we slide backstage as Triple H and Stephanie have smiles on their faces because they know the Authority is finally back together. But almost like right when they're geez, all of a sudden I adopted. Almost exactly where they left off last time we saw them, Seth Rollins is now arguing with Randy Orton and Kane about the promo earlier tonight, which basically said that Kane and Randy Orton are has-beens and need to step aside for people like Seth Rollins to take his spot as the undisputed future of WWE, but not just the future, the present of this company. Randy and Kane don't like that, and Stephanie and Triple H say they have about had it. We're a family, damn it. You know, Hunter turns into Vince. We're a family, damn it. You will get along, or if you would prefer, we could put you out there and you could settle it in the ring like men. Either way, tensions are high in the Authority, and now we move back out to the ring where Goldust and Stardust are making their way to the ring for another open challenge as Goldust and Stardust are trying to continue to prove why they are the top team in WWE. And their opponents tonight are none other than Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, the Wyatt family. As the Dust Brothers do retain the titles, but at the expense of Luke Harper being disqualified due to not listening to the referee's 5 count, and therefore Gold and Stardust retain the tag team titles. But the match didn't stop there, as the Wyatts beat down the Gold and Stardust following the match and leave them laying right in the middle of the ring, and then they do the old-fashioned feed. They feed Stardust to Bray as Bray enters the ring and hits Sister Abigail on Stardust. And now it's time for another mysterious Wyatt family promo as it seems like now they are pointing the finger at Seth Rollins. That it seems like the promos that they are doing are about Seth Rollins. They are not saying, they never say Seth Rollins' name. Specifically, Bray and Luke Harper never say Seth Rollins' name. But they keep repeating and saying things that make you think that it could be Seth Rollins. But we do find out it is definitely not Roman Reigns. And now we move to the broadcast position following the eerie and unique promo by the Wyatt family. As the weeks go by, their promos become clearer and clearer. We still don't know for sure who the promos are about, but eventually we will find out as we move. But now, to continue with the show, we move to the broadcast position with Michael, Booker, and JBL as they talk up this week's edition of Miz TV, as the Miz's guests tonight are Dusty Rhodes and the man who debuted last week on Raw against Fandango, Sami Zayn. And now we move to the next match as Dolph Ziggler, who really seems like he only faces people like The Miz, actually competes tonight against Dolph Ziggler. Sorry, Dolph doesn't compete against himself. He competed against Heath Slater, rather. And a solid match, not what I expected from Dolph, but still a solid match considering who he was against. Following the match, Dolph goes off on a tangent about The Miz, saying that if The Miz really was a fighting champion, then he would go against Dolph Ziggler, that he would accept Dolph's challenge, that he would be more than happy to prove why he is the greatest Intercontinental Champion in WWE history, so he says. Miz, all you need to do is come out here and admit you're afraid to face me again, because I'm not gonna steal your girl this time. I'm gonna steal your title, and the title will get me your girl. I won't have to steal her, because she'll come willingly. As now we move backstage, where we find Xavier, Big E, and Kofi, the New Day, as they are talking up the fact how they're talking up Mark Henry's career. They're talking up the fact that Mark Henry's been in WWE for almost 20 years. The fact that Mark Henry has done it all in WWE. Tag team titles, European title, world champion. He dominated the SmackDown roster back when he had his Hall of Pain. But now he is being dominated. But now Xavier throws out, now it's a new day. Speaking of a new day, now it's time to jump back in the wrestling time machine to 2003, when this match was actually something you've never seen before. But think about it like this: since RVD came back to WWE, you've never seen it. So, and also, it was for RVD's newly won United States title, as RVD defeated Rusev. Yes, he defeated the undefeated Bulgarian Brute last week on SmackDown for the United States title, and now he is defending it against Kane, and RVD successfully defends the title in a match that might shock some people with the rating that it got. And speaking of the undefeated Bulgarian Brute, who shows up after RVD wins his match and is celebrating in the ring with the fans, but Lana. Now Lana does not show up in the ring, does not show up on screen. She shows up on the entrance ramp without Rusev. So anybody who's anybody probably could guess what happens next, and that is that Rusev jumps Rob Van Dam from behind. He attacks RVD from behind, similar to the way he did Cena in their build-up to, I believe it was the Russian chain match, but I don't remember. But I think it was. When he attacked him from behind, I would assume from the crowd, and he jumped in the ring and attacked him. Exact same thing, just without a chain, and he puts him in the Accolade camel clutch. But he does not let go, and Lana soaks in all the boos as she slowly walks to the ring to get Rusev off Rob Van Dam, as referees and security guards and agents run past Lana to get Rusev off Rob Van Dam. But the only person who does, as Lana finally enters the ring, is Lana. The only person who can, as she enters the ring, is Lana. And she gets Rusev off Rob Van Dam as they look down at the limp, lifeless body of the current champion. And Lana has this you will hear from Lana later tonight, as they just soak in the booze right in the middle of the ring before walking backstage. And now we move back to the broadcast position for the second to last time tonight, as they flash up the picture on screen that next week on Raw, Brie Bella has an important announcement, and she'll that everyone would want to hear. Next week on Raw. Speaking of Lana and her talking about Rob Van Dam, Lana talks about how Rob Van Dam got lucky last week on SmackDown when he delivered the biggest travesty in American sports history by defeating Rusev in a fluke and stealing Rusev's United States title. Stephanie McMahon knew that the only way Rusev would lose is by not telling him who he was facing, because when my Bulgarian brute knows who he's getting in the ring with, it is always Rusev. Crash. But this time, he didn't. Rob, you caught him by surprise. It won't happen again when you go against Bulgaria's proudest star in 2 weeks at TLC, when Rusev exercises his rematch clause. That's right, you heard it here first. The first match actually announced for TLC in 2 weeks on pay-per-view is the rematch between Rob Van Dam and Rusev for the WWE United States title. And now we move forward to the next match, and it is the Usos versus Sin Cara and Kalisto, the Lucha Dragons. And you might say, isn't this Lucha's debut? On Raw. It is their debut on Raw, but it is not their debut on the main roster, as they've worked for the last couple weeks on the B shows, that being Main Event and Superstars. You want to know why I held him off? Because I had no intention of making him work the actual show, meaning Raw or SmackDown. And no, I know last week was the first SmackDown you guys have actually seen in a few weeks. No, nothing changed. Sin Cara and Kalisto were not on the show. They've only been on the B show up until today. So basically what I'm trying to say is that match against the Usos was not their first match. So who cares if they lost? Was that their first loss? Yes, I think that was their about fourth match and probably first loss out of 3. But either way, let's move forward with the show. Because right now, The Miz makes his way out to the ring for, you guessed it, this edition of Miz TV. As Miz says before Miz TV, I have to address the elephant in the room. And he goes on and talks about Christian and how Christian fits the build perfectly of someone who isn't what they used to be. And fits the build perfectly of what this title used to stand for. Because Christian is a shell of his former self. When The Miz is and will always be awesome. And now Miz introduces his guest for this week's episode of Miz TV, Dusty Rhodes, and the man who debuted last week on Raw, Sami Zayn. And the Miz asks Sami, what is it like being in WWE? Sam, it goes back and forth. He asks, what is it like to be in WWE? What was it like to be introduced by Dusty Rhodes? What is it like to be managed by, a legend like Dusty? So on and so forth. He makes a comment, you can get farther with, you can get farther if I was your manager. But then again, you're Canadian. Canadians can't be as big a star as me, as he holds up the Intercontinental title. I am an A-lister. I am the most must-see WWE Intercontinental Champion in history. Why? Because I knew when it was time to move to Florida, to move to California, to be with all my other A-list friends. And I knew that I would never step foot in a flea-bitten cesspool like Canada. That's why you can't be a star. And then Dusty Rhodes works some magic on The Miz, and you can feel the emotion, the tension in this segment, with The Miz insulting Sami Zayn and being backed up by the no offense to Sami, but the better talker. Well, actually, of course it's no offense to Sami, you're comparing him to Dusty Rhodes, the better talker in the American Dream. Dream schools Miz as we go to commercial break, and we come back now with Layla, who's joining Booker, JBL, and Michael on commentary. Because Fandango is in action next. And he is in action against the returning Y2J Chris Jericho. Yes, Jericho, Cena, Orton, Rob Van Dam, Shelton Benjamin. In the last 72 hours, I believe that's how much 3 days is. In the last 72 hours, 5 big names have returned to the WWE. And the depth has moved to from non-existent to, wow, the roster is getting deeper. The roster is getting deeper. And Jericho makes his presence felt by beating Fandango in what many would call a rematch of the WrestleMania match from a few years back. And now we move forward as following them in following the match in the ring. Jesus, I can't talk. Following the match in the ring, Layla and Fandango argue because, as you saw, Layla caused the distraction, allowing Jericho to pick up the win as Fandango got distracted by Layla at ringside. Layla and Fandango argue, neither look happy about the situation, but they still leave together. Because Fandango is a gentleman. Or that's how I want him to be out to be. Now we move forward. The Authorities' music hits, particularly Triple H's. Triple H comes to the ring and he says he's going to get right to the point, and he calls out Paul Heyman. And Heyman makes his way out to the ring, and Paul and Triple H are face to face in the ring. Triple H says, I never really liked you, Paul, but I always respected you. So, even though I won't believe you, even if you're telling me the truth. Answer me this. Was it Brock Lesnar who attacked John Cena, who attacked Randy Orton, who attacked The Big Show? Did Brock Lesnar have anything to do with the abduction of Seth Rollins? No, and why? Why would Brock Lesnar have anything to do with the abduction of Seth Rollins? And why would Brock Lesnar have anything to do with the attack of The Big Show? Just look at what he did last week to The Big Show. Triple H, you need to realize Brock Lesnar is better off being your friend than your enemy, and right now he is your enemy. You should change that, because it seems like not just you, but your wife and your father-in-law have a lot more on your plate than you can handle. And I figure maybe making Brock Lesnar a friend instead of a foe could do you very well right now, because it'll give you one less thing to worry about. Because I just want to tell you this, boss. Brock Lesnar will defend his WWE World Heavyweight title whenever you want him to. But I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's his title to lose. Paul, that's exactly what I wanted you to say. You'll find out why next week when I announce Brock Lesnar's challenge, or maybe challengers, for TLC on pay-per-view. And then we move back to the broadcast position for one more time tonight, as Booker, JBL, and Michael talk about what just happened between Triple H and Paul Heyman, and what Triple H could be talking about, or who Triple H could be talking about as the possible challenger for Brock Lesnar, or challengers for Brock Lesnar in 2 weeks at TLC. And now we move forward to the main event with John Cena up against Randy Orton. And John Cena loses to Randy Orton via countout because John Cena had interaction with the debuting Kevin Owens, as John Cena, as the Kevin Owens theme song hits once to get John Cena's attention, and then again when John Cena's about to pick up the win and Kevin Owens starts walking down the rampway, John Cena slides out the ring, not to back down from a fight, is telling Kevin Owens to come get some. He's telling Kevin Owens to come get some. But Kevin Owens ain't moving. Now Kevin Owens, as Cena turns around and walks back, looks to get back in the ring, Kevin Owens inches a little bit closer down the ramp. Cena turns right around and looks back at Owens, not to be played with. He doesn't like the mind games. But just as Cena's about to get back in the ring, and Owens makes his way down to the ring again, and as Cena turns around, he tells Owens to come on. But as Owens, and finally the referee reaches 10, Kevin Owens gets John Cena counted out, and Cena finally gets back in the ring and ignores Kevin Owens, not realizing the match is over. And Cena gets an RKO for his troubles. Cena gets an RKO for his troubles, leaving him down on the mat. And Kevin Owens just stands there laughing at Cena. As Orton walks right past him, they exchange glances. The crowd pops, a big pop, because of the idea of Kevin Owens against Randy Orton. And Randy Orton just walks away. Kevin Owens, fast forward a little bit, the show goes off with Kevin Owens and Cena having a stare down. As Raw for this week ends with a new face against the face. And now, we look at this week. We increased our popularity in 19 regions. Things are looking up for WWE, as this is the second week in a row and the third show in a row that we have just went up. My direction is finally coming together. My direction for WWE is finally working. And the picture is being drawn little by little by little as we inch closer to our first big pay-per-view. And it is actually the first pay-per-view of 2015. That is the Royal Rumble. And I'm going to tell you this. You might not like how I do the Rumble, but you'll understand it eventually, because I'm going to do 2015 a little bit different than what WWE did. But that's in the future. This is now. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of tonight's show, specifically what you thought was the best part of the show, the worst part of the show, and what you thought you could do better. Because, well, I'd like to hear from you. And speaking of hearing from you, a like or subscribe, a like would go far. But if you, a like would go far, as would subscribing to the channel, because if you liked what you saw tonight, the next time will be even better. Because this is the only place you can find content like this, and that is right here at Wrestling Express. Till next time. Later.